Every horror story has a real context. If it didn't, it wouldn't be able to awaken our most visceral fears, and movies are no different. For these stories to be effective, we must believe that the killer we see on screen, the one who stares at us oddly, could be right behind us at this very moment. So, pay attention. Because...
Actually...
In just a few seconds, I promise to tell you the case that inspired the movie and brought Freddy Krueger to life, the protagonist of A Nightmare on Elm Street. This is the perfect example of how a children's song about a teenager from California with a partially burned face unleashed fear. It created such paranoia that for decades no one dared to sleep without a companion by their side. Stay with me until the end, and you'll learn about the case that inspired one of the most shocking horror movies of all time. I am the documentarian, and this is the story behind Freddy Krueger. First of all, let me know in the comments, where did you watch the movie for the first time? With whom? At what age? And I don't want to stir up controversy, but for me, the first and third films are the best, right? Let's begin. A Nightmare on Elm Street premiered in 1984. This film marked the first appearance of Freddy Krueger, a killer of children and teenagers. He has a burned face and wears a glove fitted with sharp blades. He attacks them in their dreams, causing their deaths in reality. The movie was a critical and commercial success, and honestly, it deserved it. Freddy is a complete maniac, possessing a twisted sense of humor. He has an unforgettable appearance, a glove with blades on his fingers, and vengeance as his motivation. And yes, that song, the one that children sing, you know it, right? But the real case is even worse, much worse. Prepare yourself, because you're about to meet Lucas Portela, a boy from California who, in 1912, started his life with a rare diagnosis, a brain malformation. He was born with severe headaches that prevented him from sleeping and disrupted the sleep of his entire family. The poor child cried continuously. His father, an angry and abusive man, left, but not without first making it clear to his wife that little Lucas and his unbearable crying were the reasons for his abandonment. In a fit of rage, he stomped down with all the force of his heavy boots on one of the baby's crawling hands, crushing it. Years went by, but that injured hand led to an even greater tragedy. By the age of 9, Lucas spent all day alone. His mother rarely returned home before nightfall, and when she did, it was often accompanied by some drunken individual, and she never came back in good shape. So, little Lucas had to cook for himself every day, and then tragedy struck. He attempted to grab a pot full of boiling water, but his injured hand failed him, and part of the liquid spilled onto his leg, causing such intense pain that he dropped to one knee. The heavy pot fell down alongside him. The scalding water melted one eye, half his face, and a portion of his body. He spent 2 years in that foul general hospital, pretending to be asleep so he wouldn't continue to draw the doctor's attention, and could eventually get out of there. By 1923, they released him, and he learned that his mother had died a year earlier. That explained why no one visited him. An officer escorted him to the door of the Sisters of St. Mary Orphanage, where everyone screamed in terror upon seeing him. You see, it was a different time, and Burns' scars had definitely not healed well. The Mother Superior bluntly explained that he couldn't mix with the other children. She said, "I'll be honest with you. Pay attention. Downstairs we have a painting of Saint Bartholomew in the chapel. You know, the saint who was skinned and carries his own skin. Well, that painting looks better than you. And if the children are terrified when they see the painting, I can't imagine what would happen if they encountered you in the dark hallways. So, I'm going to give you 2 tasks. First, cover yourself at all times, and as much as possible, don't leave the attic. By the way, you'll live, eat, and pray there alone. And second, get out of my sight, Lucas. I'm already feeling nauseous just looking at your melted eye-leaking liquid." From that moment on, the other residents of the orphanage would occasionally see him from afar, this mysterious and lonely boy, wrapped in a striped blanket and wearing a hat. Both during the day and at night, you could hear the incessant footsteps coming from the attic. Lucas couldn't sleep. His head would explode with pain whenever he lay down, so he daydreamed and asked the Lord to have mercy on him. Life was unbearable until he turned 14. When God smiled upon him, a very young nun named Sister María Inés arrived at the orphanage and took a liking to the boy. She took him out of the attic, knitted him a nice coat with a high collar, and kept him by her side almost every day, teaching him gardening. Lucas felt a sense of renewal. He had gained confidence and was able to lead a nearly normal life. All thanks to Sister María Inés, who had never shown him any reproach for his appearance. On the contrary, she would gently caress him while applying necessary ointments to soothe the infections on his damaged skin. She also helped him with his injured hand, which was almost useless, by making him a glove with 4 long and thin knives, ideal for pruning and shaping the bushes with ease. However, as you can surely imagine, everything fell apart when 2 7-year-old boys found him standing in front of a mirror in the central bathroom. Lucas usually went there when everyone was asleep, but this time he got distracted while practicing a love declaration for Sister María Inés. You see, the young man was hopelessly in love. And there, in the broken bathroom mirror, he rehearsed his proposal, saying, "Sister María Inés, I love you and I want to marry you. Let's talk to the Mother Superior. If she doesn't let you go or opposes it, I will take care of her. Don't worry about anything." When he turned around, he came face to face with the 2 boys who, upon seeing him, let out the most blood-curdling scream one could remember. Both fled in terror and in their rush, crashed into the old relic in the hallway. The glass shattered and both had to be taken to the infirmary for stitches. They were hysterical, frightened, and blamed everything on the disfigured lover. That's what they called him. Rumors of a romance between that creature and Sister María Inés quickly spread. The Mother Superior summoned her along with both boys and Lucas, who was gardening in the nun's yard. When she had all 4 in her office, she spoke to them as follows. "You, Mr. Lucas, I told you not to leave the attic, and you, Sister Maria? You need to explain to these boys that we, the nuns, are already married to Jesus, because they see you young and rebellious and fall in love. I warned you repeatedly that showing affection to these boys is a bad idea, but it seems that the young ones don't listen to their elders. So I've requested your transfer to the Abbey of California. There you will be under the protection of Abbot Joseph. And we'll see if you are still eager to encourage the boys' courage with him." Don't get me wrong, he's a just man of God, but he uses the whip quite frequently. Everyone leaves there either obedient or broken. I hope you become obedient. Lucas stood up and shouted, "No, I love her! She loves me too!" Seeing him like this, everyone stepped back in fear and took refuge against the wall. On the sideboard, there was a modest mirror, and looking at his reflection, the young man understood why. Even sweet sister María Inés felt terror. His angry face looked as if it had been taken straight from hell. The hat didn't help at all, and his deformed hand, clad in that glove of long blades he had forgotten to remove. God, he was on the verge of crumbling. But you know what? The worst was yet to come. There was one more reason why the nuns were scared. When he reacted so explosively and his breathing became agitated like a bull about to charge. With his hands raised, the old Mother Superior asked him to calm down. She took a heavy folder from the desk and opened it, inviting him to read it while saying, "You don't remember, do you? When they brought you here years ago, I tried to find your father to take you away as soon as possible, and this is what I found. Look for yourself. He was arrested in Texas, see? The file states that Timothy Portela, your father, kidnapped children from wealthy families, like little Susie Fitzgerald. Look at the photos yourself. He asked for ransom, but they never showed up. He confessed everything. He chained them in the basement against the cold floor. After receiving the payment, he would wait for them to fall asleep and then stomp on their heads with all his might. He was executed a year ago for the murder of 6 minors and 3 inmates in prison. He was a man who lost his temper easily and became aggressive." Lucas responded, "What are you trying to tell me? I'm not like him. I love María Inés." Stretching his hand toward the young woman, he begged her for them to escape together, but she replied, "No, Lucas. I don't want to be your wife. I don't love you that way. I know you're a good young man, but I will never go with you. I will ask Jesus to help you understand." Lucas was so furious that his agitated breathing made the glasses rattle. He pointed at his beloved, and before fleeing, he jumped out the window into the garden, swearing to her. "Why do you ask Jesus? He never gave me an answer, but you did, and I'll do the same for you. I will be there. Day and night, I will be there for you." And he jumped out the window. 7 months later, María Inés found herself in her dark cell at the Abbey, where she had been transferred for discipline. Like every night, she had removed her upper clothing and was waiting on her knees with her back exposed. Why? Because that was what Abbot Joseph demanded when, as always, he entered promptly at 8 in the evening with the whip in hand. To tame her free-spirited nature, as he would say. He forced her to extinguish the candle in the room, and the young woman, crying, obeyed by blowing it out in resignation. But the whips of that night never came. Minutes passed in complete darkness, and only muffled whispers were heard behind her. She didn't turn around because she knew that Abbot Joseph would become even angrier if she looked him in the eyes. 2 minutes later, she lit the candle again. She first covered one shoulder, and as she saw that the blow never came, she covered the other. And without turning, she asked, "Abbot, will you forgive me today?" But she only heard a moan, and then she turned and saw him. Lucas was on top of the monk. He had his sharp claws sunk into the man's throat, while large spurts of blood gushed from the neck. She screamed, clutching her head and repeating, "My God! My God!" Lucas said mockingly. "My God, where is he?" "I don't see him around. It's just me. Come with me. Let's flee. I will never abandon you." But Sister Maria Inés replied, "I can't go with you. Understand? My marriage is with Jesus and it's forever. Get out of here." He laughed ironically, pulled the blades from the monk's throat in a gesture of apparent remorse, and stabbed them into his eyes again and again, while telling his beloved, "As you wish, but I will always be close watching over you at night. Remember, I don't sleep. If you need me, call me. When you get tired of praying to Jesus without getting an answer, say my name, and I will come. No one who offends you will go unpunished. You are my religion, and I swear I will obey you, whether in this world or the next. Call me, and I will come." When he left, Sister Maria Inés swore she would never allow herself to be hurt again. But in that cursed abbey, all the monks seemed to take pleasure in her pain. And after just a year, the new abbot had already locked her in a laundry room and wouldn't leave her alone, forcing her to work until she fainted, because she refused to unlock the door to her room at night and endure the punishments that the other nuns faced. She prayed and prayed, but it was all in vain. Since Lucas had killed Abbot Joseph, every night she heard footsteps on the roofs, stealthy and agile. At first she was frightened because she knew it was Lucas stalking her. Then she stopped hearing them and felt fear. As time went on, those footsteps transformed into hope, into a feeling of protection that was slowly fading away. It was in April when, exhausted by the new abbot's mistreatment, she spoke up, thinking it wouldn't work, of course, believing that he had left a long time ago, and she said it as a whisper. "Help me, Lucas." Immediately, the footsteps that hadn't been heard for months were felt strongly on the roof. The abbey windows shattered, and then silence. Until the screams began, the howls of the abbot echoing through the hallway. As she watched the marks of the blades on his chest, saw something had pulled out his heart, and witnessed his life fading from this world. "Mercy, please. Oh my God," he said before dying. Years passed, and Sister Maria Inés's reputation made everyone tremble before her. The legend claimed that if you offended her in any way, the ghost of the burned man with knife fingers would appear while you slept. At least that's what all the students at Cathedral High School in Los Angeles said, where Sister Maria Inés found peace. She taught botany until her death in 1965. And what the teenagers said was indeed correct. The ghost of the burned man, that's exactly what it was. You see, remember that the footsteps on the abbey roof stopped being heard? It's because death had caught up with Lucas some time ago, up there on those roofs. There they found his body. It was in a narrow tool room next to the roof where he lived, spying on his beloved and waiting for her call. A brain malformation, the one that had prevented him from sleeping forever. He ultimately ended his life a few days after that night when he killed the wicked Abbot Joseph. The same night he promised Sister Maria Inés that he would answer her call, whether in this world or in the next. Sister Maria Inés' life as a teacher was quite fulfilling. The students made an effort to treat her like a queen and never forgot to clean her desk. Never after the incident with John Willow, a brat who put broken glass on the teacher's seat. And that very night, something pulled him from his bed while he was sleeping. He cut out his eyes and threw him from the first floor, right onto those damn pointed fences. Like in all the old schools around the world, there are characters and situations that have earned their place. A song among the children, one they sang at night, a special one to keep them awake, to prevent them from closing an eye. If Sister Maria Inés had challenged you, one they sang out of fear of dreaming about Lucas, the burnt ghost, out of fear of waking up and realizing that his deformed fingers, gloved in long, sharp blades, were already on your throat. And I am the documentarian, and this was the story behind Freddy Krueger.
In the shadows you hide, trying to connect, but in my domain, you cannot escape. The flames granted me a new power. Fear is my kingdom, I will make you perish. Eyes watching from behind the threshold, icy whispers will make you awaken. There is no refuge, there is no forgiveness. My laughter echoes in every corner. 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. 3, 4, 5, close the door. 6, 7, take your crucifix. 8, 9, 10, stay awake, the madman told you. Do you feel my claws tearing at your skin? I am the ghost that never left. The walls weep, whispers of horror. I drag you with me to the realm of pain. There is no escape, there is no salvation. The nightmares are my blessing. 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. 3, 4, 5, close the door. 6, 7, take your crucifix. 8, 9, 10, stay awake, the madman told you. The documentarian warned you. Ancient shadows in the room. You sleep peacefully. Do you think he's not there? But when you close your eyes, he awakens again. 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. 3, 4, 5, close the door. 6, 7, take your crucifix. 8, 9, 10, stay awake. The madman told you, Master, they name me and I pursue virtue. I work in the shadows to serve the light.
Special greetings to all channel members. Thank you. Gabriel Suarez LD, JR, Eliana Castañeda, Jess Lili Montes, Milagros Rutherford, Nicolás Flores Sol Jars, Paulina Cabrera Heredia, Jimena, Miguel Urbina, Sara Marrazzo, Franco Mancilla, Wing Someca, Forti, Fabiana Yesa, Miguel Ángel, Luis Batista Mendoza, Señor Itati, Ernesto P., Jonathan, Micael Mortarotti, Paul Ball, Brenda Lorenzo, Warchak Sikin, Chris Alexander, Ana María Morín, César Galvez, Freddy Villalobos, Matías Gabriel, Riquelme Fernández, Carlos Chiti, Pierre Iván Ramos. Thank you from Real. Energy Detective Germán Virgen El Chuta, María Raquel Pérez, Miguel Troncoso, Juan Luis Bernias del Gambillo, Pinela Vallecillo, S. Thomas Subewolf and Robert Martínez, Héctor Bautista, Edu Ochentas, Rosario Guisache, Amalia Contreras, Patrick Rosas, Alan García, Lucas Muloal, Gloria Reya, Verónica Pereira, Eleonora Rossi Farías, Nubia Gandú, Brian Barbe, Leonori, Julio Vidal, Juan Ramón Ignacio, Dani Cardea, Rosalía, Linda Velázquez Estrada, Álvaro Medina, Keimar Chávez, Jesús Mora, Miriam Romero, José Balsino, Jonathan Pacheco, Clauis Galván, Juan Jacobo, Tamara Nax, Big One, and Carlos Mondes. Thank you, and until next time.